They say your eyes are the windows to the soul. They're also the windows to your health because they let eye doctors see what's going on inside. Think about this. A comprehensive eye exam can be an early detector of serious health problems like high blood pressure, heart disease, stroke, and diabetes. Shouldn't you see your eye doctor yearly? Go to thinkaboutyoureyes.com to learn more and for a list of local eye doctors. It could help save more than your vision.
We've all been hurt at some point, even abandoned. Many of us have done the hurting ourselves. We get to the point where we don't trust anyone, nor do we feel worthy of being loved by anyone. Then there's that one person who just doesn't give up on loving you. Their love is unconditional. Their love stays long enough for you to heal. And then they promise to never leave. That's love you can count on. God's love.
Hello, everybody. This is David Evans from Washington, D.C., president of PIC TV Network. We have a special presentation today for the whole world to watch. Our brand new hit show, PIC TV Network, Hello America, only seen on the PIC TV Network. This is a special. Everybody can chat in on Facebook, PIC TV Network, YouTube, PIC TV Network, Twitch, PIC TV Network. And we want to welcome our audience from all over the world watching right now. We're so happy for those who are watching in Brazil, France, Colombia, Mexico, Panama, Paris, Peru, Argentina, Egypt, Canada, Ireland, West Africa, United Kingdom, Australia, Germany, United States, and especially you who are watching. Through Roku, we have the opportunity to broadcast Hello America all over the world with interpreters. And today, I'm going to go to our award-winning anchor person from Atlanta, Georgia. Everybody loves Michelle Cox, and she has a special guest on that's going to make history on the PIC TV Network. Come on, Michelle. Come on to the screen. Let's talk today and bring in our special guest.
Well, America, today I want to introduce to you Dr. Lane Rowland. He's a virologist and infectious disease expert, also a trauma surgeon. Dr. Rowland is amazing. I got to hear him yesterday on Clubhouse in Delano Johnson's room, and he was telling me about COVID-19. He was telling us the real facts because, as you know, the president said the pandemic is over. Well, is the pandemic really over? Dr. Lane, what do you think?
Well, thank you for that warm introduction, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to be on your platform, Michelle and Dr. Evans. The reality, folks, is that this pandemic will not be over for at least 1,000 years. And the reason why is that the coronavirus is in every animal species on the planet. In fact, the animal species is a reservoir that allows this virus to stay alive. And particularly not just coronavirus, but also the SARS family that's caused this pandemic now, as we see. And the bottom line at the end of the day, when the pandemic ends, folks, and I've said this many times from MSNBC, Black News Channel, Global World Network, etc., is that when we see no viruses in the sewage, that is when the pandemic is over. People need to understand basic infectious diseases. And the reality is that this is why we're where we're at, because of the ultra-crepidarian statements that individual makes in an area that they're not trained to make. And the reality that at the end of the day, folks, when the pandemic is over, is when we do not see any viruses in the sewage, because a comparison of sewage and viral load is a direct representation of the health of the population or a community.
Well, Dr. Lane, now that you bring that up, and I've been researching you because I wanted to find out more information. In one of your posts on Instagram, it says that China has 12 million new cases. Is that correct?
Well, I mean, they have probably about 12 million cases a day in China. And the reality is that you have to realize that, China has a billion people, billion plus people. And people need to understand, if China is still dealing with the SARS-CoV virus, where it originated from, what makes you think that that virus is not going to come to the United States? Just for example, China had its first monkeypox case 2 days ago. That was brought into by a foreigner. So you can imagine somebody in China. How this started was that somebody from China was infected, got on an airplane, flew to LA, Seattle, different locations in the world, and that's how that virus got spread. So when the pandemic ends is when we do not see any viral load in the actual sewage. And the reality, folks, that we're looking at a country to define when the pandemic ends is when there is no cases in China, then there will be no cases in the world.
Wow, that's amazing information. Now, in the United States, because that's where we are right now, and even though we're broadcasting to countries all over the globe,
Right.
my thing is we have over 1 million people dead in the United States. And how many people here are coming into hospitals? How many cases are we reporting here? Do you know
Well,
those statistics?
I do know the statistics, and the reality is that your million deaths is wrong. The numbers is probably more like 2 millions, and it's been stated by the CDC and other agencies that the numbers have always been reported low, because it's a political appeasement. Because when you see the number of deaths, it's a lot of folks, what, 1 million. So you can imagine if they showed you the real number of about 2 million Americans that have died since the beginning of this pandemic. It's really astonishing. But you have to understand the reality, folks. When is the pandemic over? Well, right now, as of today, we're averaging about 70,000 cases a day. We're averaging 400 deaths a day. Next month, we're looking at about 100,000 new cases a day of the SARS-CoV virus infection, and up to 3,000 deaths a day. This is our reality. You do the math yourself. 400 people dying a day, 7 days a week, 7 days in a week, 2,800. You're looking at about, say about 9,000 a month. You do the numbers. You do the numbers yourself. By the time we get to January, we're going to be maybe another 300, 400,000 people are going to die just on the numbers that we're averaging. So the reality, folks, is that we have to make sure that people understand that you're still in the beginning of this pandemic, and the virus is controlling the narrative and the story, and not the world.
Well, you asked a question the other day, and I heard some of your lecture. Does the virus have a conscience? So, when we talk about the consciousness of viruses, viruses are very smart. Is that correct, Dr. Lane?
Yeah, absolutely. In all the classes I teach, and I've been teaching infectious disease for about 30 years, microbiology, virology, you name it, tropical medicine. The first question in any class that I start off, I ask my students, do viruses and bacteria have a conscience? And everybody will jump up and go, no, no, no. But then I break it down to reality. How does a virus know how to mutate? How does a bacteria that is being killed by penicillin for gonorrhea or syphilis knows to call out to his cousin that has the resistant gene to these antibiotics and send that gene over, and that bacteria becomes resistant? So when we look at viruses, how does a virus know to evolve? How does a virus know how to mutate? You put an evolutionary pressure on any living organism, you're going to live or you're going to die. Darwin's theory of evolution. So you think about the virus, when you think about the SARS-CoV virus, that is why we tell folks you never do a vaccine program in the middle of a pandemic. and not unless you have a zero-sum game. What does that mean? I give you a vaccine, and that vaccine is really giving you the virus itself. You create antibodies, neutralizing antibodies. And these antibodies that these particular vaccines were developed for was to attack the spike protein. Well, guess what happened? The virus felt that in the initial earlier state of the pandemic, i.e., the Wuhan strain, the ancestral strain, migrated up to alpha, beta, gamma, delta to 13 mutation, went into the delta to the Omicron up to 75 to 100 mutations in the spike protein. It is impossible for the human body to make an antibody that is going to attack that spike protein based off a vaccine that has a zero-sum game. People need to understand the vaccine that they made were targeted for one particular area of the virus, the spike protein. Everybody talks about spike protein. Well, guess what the virus did? You attack the spike protein and the virus mutated. That is a zero-sum game, ball game over with. That is why it was so important as we went through this process, like I said, for each variant, you have to make a new vaccine. Now you look at the boosters now, these new boosters that have not been tested in human beings, but in rats, and they have made a theoretical guess like they do with the flu vaccine, what they're making a prediction of. They took the Wuhan strain, the ancestral strain of the virus, plus the Omicron BA4 and BA5, which gives you a bivalent vaccine. That is what they're basing their decision on, these new boosters. But the reality is that these boosters do not have the credibility, and none of these vaccines have shown 100% vaccine effectiveness. What does that mean? Vaccine effectiveness is how a vaccine eliminates a particular virus, how effective it is. Well, check this out, folks. If that vaccine is giving you 60% vaccine effectiveness, 50% vaccine effectiveness, I'll even give you 75% vaccine effectiveness, and none of these vaccines are even in the 50%. They're down in the 8, 9, 10, 12% with these Omicron. You leave any of the viruses alive, they're going to mutate. That creates the mutation because the virus sees it, you kill half his family. What are you going to do? You're going to mutate or you're going to die. So these viruses are being pressured to change, and it's the genetic inherent property of all RNA viruses, especially the coronavirus, which is one of the most notorious RNA mutated virus on the planet. It mutates every day. It's in a human body. It's mutating. And so you create these new mutations. So this is where we made the mistake at, and we have to go back, like I've said, and reset the clock and say, hey, let's have that big mama conversation. And that big mama conversation that this is a virus. It came from a bat. We can look at genetic analysis, 100% no gain of function. I know I'm certified in chemical and biological warfare, and I have multiple degrees. And we can look at genetic pattern and see that there's no inherent gain of function by putting the small part genes in it, taking a gene out, putting Ebola in it. This came from a bat. And then the reality is that at animal reservoir, that virus jumped from that animal in China, the bat, into that human being. How did that happen? Well, it went to a wet market. And most people understand what wet markets are. And
wait a minute. Because while you understand, a lot of people in the United States don't understand what a wet market is. So please just break that down so we have an accurate picture of what a wet market is.
Well, a wet market, and I train my students, and it's part of our course that when we teach infectious disease, we have to take people where ground zero usually starts at. And ground zero for most pandemics starts in a wet market, i.e. these wet markets are in countries like Asia, countries South America, Africa. Wet markets are defined as places where poor people get their food from. And what people are surprised, what do you mean getting their food from? This is where they get their protein from, i.e. they go out in the jungles because they can't afford a chicken. Maybe they couldn't afford a pig or whatever the case is. And they get all types of exotic animals. They're eating bats, alligators, crocodiles. I've seen fish that can walk on land. You take these animals, you put them in a market, i.e. you got fish, you got vultures, you got pigs on top of ducks, ducks on top of bats. You got chickens and ducks coughing, interchanging urine and feces. There's interchanging viruses and stuff. That's a ground zero. And then what happens is that the individual comes to that market, like in Wuhan. I want some bat meat. People eat bats. People drink bat blood in the real world, and a lot of people don't understand that. He drank the blood, got infected. That's what we call spillover. And folks need to understand every pandemic, on the most part, starts from an animal. The virus, natural host is the animal. That animal jumps into that individual person from one, you eat it, eat the animal. Maybe you get in contact with the effective carcass, whatever. You get bit by the animal. You eat a fruit or nuts that a bat pooped on, peed on, put saliva on. You get that, and that starts a pandemic. So wet markets are always a primary source of pandemics. That is why we always are on the lookout by doing what we call infectious disease intelligence. We look in the markets and see, and we culture to see what's coming out of there. My students go there and we take samples, and we know there's cholera there. We know there's, a different type of disease. But this is getting of all pandemics coming from animals into the wet market, and that wet market is the gateway to all types of infectious diseases that are interchanging their fluids.
Well, Dr. Rowland, see, this education is important because, like I tell everybody, you can have knowledge, but it's the execution of knowledge that really helps us to spread the correct information. So I'm glad you brought that point up. Now, the World Health Organization back in 2019 had identified something was going on in Wuhan, China. Did we have an opportunity then to kind of stem or mitigate what we have today?
Yes, we did. And the reality is that the Chinese were in fault. Our government was in fault, definitely under the Trump administration, because of the inherent, political discord that they had. The reality is that the pandemic didn't start in December 2019. It probably started more like in March or even earlier that in China. And the reality is that we've had verification and cases that we knew that people were infected here in the United States in December and January in Washington, because in the state of Washington, we have a flu surveillance. And they were able to pick up the SARS-CoV virus early in December, even in November of 2019. And the reality is that the government was slow to react to that. They didn't want the state of Washington reporting these numbers. And that set us back, because if one individual is infected, you can imagine if a virus has an R naught number, for example, of 12. We'll use measles as an example.
Before you get into that, because I want you to explain those factors, that R number, because a lot of people don't know what that R number is. I know what an R number is because I've been following you for a minute here and I've been researching, but explain what an R number is and how the transmission goes from level to level.
Well, the reality is that in the beginning of this pandemic, the mistake was that people did not explain it. Well, when we classify viruses or diseases, we have a classification called an R naught number, or what we call the reproductive number. That is a number that tells you how infectious in a simple way an organism is. When we look at Ebola has an R naught number of 1. That means one person, an Ebola patient can infect one person. Influenza is 1.5, AIDS is about 3. Then we jump up to then we look at the SARS-CoV virus. At that time, it had an R naught number of 4 and 5. But the most infectious organism on the planet is measles. It has an R naught number of 12. For every one person that has measles can infect 12 people. Well, guess what? The SARS-CoV virus is going from a 3.5. It is surpassed the measles. For every one person that has the SARS-CoV virus, they can infect 12 people, up to 20 people at one time. So you can imagine somebody in a football stadium coughs. We know within 5 seconds you can be infected. We've done the studies. So you can imagine the transmission rate of that. And that is exactly the problem that we've had. People didn't understand the sensibility. One of the things that I tried to teach everybody in this audience of yours on this television program are going to learn infectious disease. They're going to learn the right the terminology. And in the beginning, what they should have did was say The SARS-CoV virus is transmitted in 3 ways. 1, respiratory. 2, secretions. 3, feces. Wear a mask. 2, wash your hands. This is the simple things they did not do. And the reality is that this is why we're in this quagmire now. It's almost like the Vietnam War. We're in a war of attrition now. The virus is winning. It's taking people off the set every day, one way or the other, from being sick, dying, long-term complications. And so the reality is that when we look at the SARS-CoV virus, it is the most infectious organism that's ever been invented on the planet, because the R naught number surpasses measles, which is the highest category that we can have. So that tells you how infectious this disease is. And when people make ultra-crepidarian statements saying this is like the flu, you are absolutely wrong. The flu doesn't kill this many people. The flu doesn't have the ability to affect every tissue in your body from your eyeballs down to your toes. For example, we have a thing in infectious disease we call trophism, which means the ability of a virus to affect a target tissue. For example, polio. Well, the way you get polio, folks, you have to drink water that has feces in it. The virus goes to your gastrointestinal tract, and then you get paralyzed during the infectious process. Or, example, influenza goes to your lungs. It affects your lungs. Targeted trophism, one tissue. Well, the SARS-CoV virus has multiple trophism. It can affect your eyes, your nose, your heart, your lungs, your gastrointestinal tract. Men are becoming sterile. We can go down the line of all the different tissues that this virus affects. That gives that virus a significant advantage because it can affect every tissue and not just one.
And see, this is why we needed the proper information from the beginning. We dropped the ball, but now we're getting this proper information. Now, tell us about the 6 F's of transmission, if you don't mind, and explain what the F's are, please, sir.
Well, there are 7 F's, and the reality is that as an infectious disease specialist, when we teach our class in parasitology, we try to give the best approach. So one of the things we call Dr. Rowland's ABC on infectious disease transmission. You can be infected from diseases through your face, your fingers, flies, food, formite, fingers, and also your foot. And the reality is that if you understand how diseases are transmitted through the 7 F's, you can prevent that. It's an algorithm, i.e., most people touch their face 100 times a day. Don't touch your face. You will get infected, i.e., your fingers are very notorious for diseases because people use the bathroom, they don't wash their hands, they touch all types of different things. Man, hands are nasty. I don't recommend shaking people's hands nowadays because you can catch polio, you can catch monkeypox, you can definitely catch the SARS-CoV virus and multiple other diseases. Flies is another one where people go to picnics and flies land on your potato salad. You don't eat the potato salad because flies' life style is living feces. They eat it. They go and they land on your potato salad and they regurgitate viruses and all types of stuff. Never do that. Your foot is really your shoes. Don't wear your shoes in the house. The Japanese people, and I've lived in Okinawa for 2 years, the Japanese don't wear the shoes in the house. There's a reason why. You can imagine when we culture people's shoes, the organisms that are under your bottom of your shoes from the SARS-CoV virus, hepatitis, bacteria, E. coli, pseudomonas. I can go down the line of the different organisms on the bottom of your shoes. We talk about food. Food is very notorious for causing sickness, i.e., you folks need to think about this. In my clinical field class that I teach my students, one of the projects, you go to the supermarket and watch what people do in the grocery stores. And you see the old guy in there scratching, he's picking his nose, he's squeezing on the avocados, he's tasting the grapes. The old lady is touching all the apples and putting that back in there, and their hands are completely contaminated. You are infected. So you have to sterilize your food. And a lot of people don't understand, too, during this COVID situation, one of the dangers is that these meat plants, they have thousands of workers in there with substandard healthcare, substandard PPE equipment, and these guys are sick, coughing, blowing their nose, viruses everywhere. The virus lands on your T-bone steaks, your pork chops, your chicken breasts. Virus lands on it, they put some plastic on, they freeze it, and they ship that to wherever it is. Folks, freezing does not kill viruses. Once it's thawed out, you touch it, you touch your face, it's on your counter, you get infected. That is
wow. Dr. Lane, hold it right there. We have to take a commercial break.
Okay.
Everybody, we're live from Washington, D.C., all the way down to Atlanta, Georgia. We're worldwide. We're here with Dr. Lane Rowland, and he's telling us the truth about if the pandemic is over. We'll be right back after this commercial break. Dr. Evans, commercial break.
Yeah. It's the biggest. You know, so hey. Yeah. She want the audio. She want the audio.
Hey, what's up, y'all? I am your host, Izumi, and we are reporting live from Los Angeles, California, and we are on PIC TV Network on Roku TV. And if you're not tuning in right now, you better tune in because you do not want to miss the latest and hottest indie music videos, fashion, celebrity news, interviews, and so much more for you guys that we're going to bring a home for all indie artists and all genres of music. So we are the streets, we are the culture, and we are the content. Stay tuned, Roundtable TV.
Every time a patient is diagnosed with colon cancer, the first question is, am I going to survive this? So let's take a moment and talk about the probability of cure in this disease. Using multi-modality treatment, meaning combination of surgery with and without radiation and chemotherapy, we have significantly improved the outcomes and survival of patients with colon cancer through all the stages from 1 to 4. Unfortunately, whether a patient will be cured or not is still determined at the stage they were diagnosed with. The more advanced the tumor, the lower the likelihood of cure. A stage 1 tumor that has not even penetrated through the wall of the colon can expect it to be cured in 93% or more percent of the time. Once the tumor starts to grow through the wall, things become more complicated because it's not only the size of the tumor at that point, but also how aggressive it is, what the different biology is. And there's a lot of research in trying to determine today the risk groups and the genetic factors that determine how aggressive a tumor is. But for now, we have to go by what we have, and this is the size of the tumor and whether lymph nodes are involved or other organs are involved. So a stage 2 tumor, which would mean a tumor through the wall but not in the lymph nodes yet, can expect to be cured in anywhere between 75 to 85% of the time. And this is because there are small tumor cells that have already left that we might not see originally, so the tumor was a higher stage, or it's just a more aggressive tumor. In stage 3 disease, meaning the tumor has spread to the lymph nodes already, unfortunately these numbers drop significantly. Stage 3C, meaning more than 7 lymph nodes or very advanced primary tumor, the cure rates drop to 40-44% rate if you look at the patient populations. In stage 4 disease, the 5-year survival rate is quoted as around 8%, which means there is a subset that still might be cured using optimal treatment. All of these numbers are historical, and we hope that in 2013, combining chemotherapy in early stage disease, we might be able to achieve better results.
They say your eyes are the windows to the soul. They're also the windows to your health, because they let eye doctors see what's going on inside. Think about this. A comprehensive eye exam can be an early detector of serious health problems, like high blood pressure, heart disease, stroke, and diabetes. Shouldn't you see your eye doctor yearly? Go to thinkaboutyoureyes.com to learn more And for a list of local eye doctors, it could help save more than your vision.
We're back here today on Hello America Big TV Network. I'm so happy for our special guest on doing a wonderful job. I see all these chats coming on. You know, the PIC TV Network stands for the People's Investment Channel. And we have educational programs, information programs. And today, we have a doctor on. This is huge. This is big because we need to take care of our health and we need to take care of each other. So I'm going to turn it back over to Michelle. I can't wait till the doctor come back on because I got a lot of questions for him about diabetes, cholesterol, high blood pressure, how I can live to be 100 years old. I'm going to get it back to you right now, Michelle.
Thank you so much, Dr. Evans. Now, everybody that's just joined us, we are in our Hello America Spotlight, and we're here today with Dr. Lane Rowland, and he's explaining the 7 F's for transmission with this COVID SARS virus that we're going through right now, and the fact that the pandemic is not over. Dr. Rowland, please continue.
Well, and then one of the F's is very important is understanding the F called fomite. What is a fomite? A fomite is an inanimate object. And you need to understand that you can catch diseases from a salt shaker at Applebee's. You can get it from a syringe, i.e., get it from a wheelchair, get it from touching the ATM machine. An inanimate object is what it means. And the reality is that a lot of folks don't realize that when you go into the public space, it's pretty dangerous when you think about it, especially when you have pandemic viruses like the SARS-CoV virus. For example, the first case in Germany started in the Bavarian motor plant in Bavaria, where a Chinese worker was in Bavaria working for the German manufacturer. They were at the lunch room with his colleague, a German. The German said, "Please pass me the salt shaker." He passed the salt shaker to the German, and bam, that was the very first patient zero in Germany. And then Germany went to where it was. And so a salt shaker, that's why it's so important when people are out in the public space, i.e., do not touch an ATM machine without protecting your hands. Do not grab the gas pump handle. Make sure when you go to a restaurant, never touch the menus unless they have sterilized or you brought your own sterilization stuff to sterilize that. When you're on an airplane, by far, never, ever touch the magazine. You can imagine 100,000 people a day on that plane with feces on their hand touching that magazine. You will be infected. So that's what an inanimate object is a fomite. And a virus can land on be on your cell phone, folks, for 20 days. That's an inanimate object. So the reality, you have fomite, you have food, you have flies, you have fingers, you have foot, and you have face.
Wow. Now, I thought I was paranoid. And I did talk to you a little bit yesterday because I literally carried 3 large cans of Lysol in my car. And I've been spraying pumps. I've been spraying door handles. When I go to a hotel, I spray the elevator. I spray down the hallway. I spray all my surfaces. And people are looking at me like I'm doing something really extra. And then you talked about situational awareness with me yesterday. Will you explain that to people and how important that is?
Well, situational awareness is very important because we have to navigate in this new world. When I was put on the Congressional National Black Legislator Congressional Healthcare Task Force, I was chosen because of my experience in the jungles, working in real environments and stuff. The reality, folks, is that situational awareness means that you understand the environment you're in. So I know if I'm going to get on an airplane and there's people in a dense area, a tight space, I'm going to wear a mask, period, end of story. Sick or not sick, because you look at people on an airplane, people are coughing, they're blowing their nose. It's very a nasty environment, and they do not clean the airplanes. That's situational awareness. Wear a mask. If you're in DC, riding the transit bus, and people are touching the rail to hold up, you better think twice because that thing's infected. They're not cleaning that bus like you think they are. That's what situational awareness. You kind of figure out the environment that you can work in. For example, I live on the beach. I walk down the beach. I don't have to wear a mask because guess what? There's nobody out there. But if I'm on a bus taking on a bus, Greyhound, coming from LA to DC for 3 days in a tight space, I'm going to put on a mask. Or if I get on the elevator, that's situational awareness, and you got 12 people on there, you better wear a mask because you're going to get infected because the virus is here to stay. This virus is different. People need to understand this virus is here in the fall, spring, summertime, all the time versus flu, which is seasonal. And we knew 3 years ago, we made prediction when the president goes on television and says, well, you know, when it gets hot, the virus is going to go away. Well, that doesn't make any sense because there were millions of cases in the tropical Cancer, tropical Capricorn, which is the equator. It's summertime in Africa. It's hot in the jungles, and people were dying in India like flies. And so that is why you need to make sure you have situational awareness.
Okay, so we got a question up, and it says, does wearing my mask really help me if no one else is wearing a mask?
Oh, absolutely, because that mask, you think about it, is really your frontline barrier to the environment, i.e., it's going to protect you from, viruses and other people. And also, if you're infected, you're going to protect the other people. So it's a two-way street on that. And people need to understand that the mask that you have to be able to understand the principle behind the mask. I'm a chemical and biological warfare expert. I'm an expert when it comes to masks, period. I deal with mustard gas, nerve gas, viruses that will, blow your mind away. And I know what proper equipment. If I'm in the hospital dealing with tuberculosis patients with multi-drug resistant tuberculosis, I'm gonna wear a mask. I've had friends that die from tuberculosis. If I'm dealing with some viral disease, I'm gonna wear a mask. So the mask is very important. And people need to understand these masks have to be reusable, or you're gonna have to make that change every.
And how often do we have to make the change, Dr. Rowland?
I would say, depending on what type of mask you have, if you're wearing a mask that you have to do every day, you need to make sure you clean that mask every day. And that's one thing we have at Tepeda is that we have antiviral masks that you can wash up to 30 times. And by hand wash, it still has the properties to inhibit the virus itself. And so that is the reality in understanding how viruses work.
So let's talk about masks in general, because I go through masks like crazy. I wear the single-use mask. I wear the N95 mask. I wear the KN95 mask, depending on what I'm doing. So the different masks, how long do they last in situations like, say, your regular single-use mask? How long is that effective for? How many hours?
I would say 1 day at the max, because when we look at masks, and we've done the studies that the masks are contaminated. The masks have fungus on the outside, they have bacteria on the outside, they have viruses on the outside because you're out in the environment. And you're inside the mask is just as affected or contaminated because you're breathing in that mask, and that becomes a bacterial source, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
So it's good to see. I'm just, for the people that don't know me, or for the other people that are tuning in and have never seen me, I have breast cancer. I had breast cancer. I'm a breast cancer conqueror, but I have sarcoidosis in my lungs. I have only about a 15% survival rate if I catch COVID because my lungs are already compromised. So I'm very, very careful. And so I change masks constantly. I have about 5 or 6 boxes of masks in my car, 3 or 4 cans of Lysol. I've got Microban. I'm spraying surfaces. And so when I go out in public, people are looking at me really weird when I'm at the gas station and I'm spraying the pumps down. I even had one guy, I was at a Costco. He's like, don't spray the pumps. I was like, I'm going to spray the pumps or I'm not getting gas here. Or you're going to give me something to hold the pump with. Even that is not effective because the virus is everywhere and it's on situations. Now, the other thing I know is the virus aerosol? Because I said it was because people hawk and spit and then we walk through it and it's in the air. Is it or not?
Yeah, the SARS-CoV virus has a respiratory component, both aerosol and also droplets and stuff. And we define that as 0.5 microns. But yeah, the virus is definitely in the air. And we've done the studies where viruses can travel 1,000 miles, depending on the kinetic energy and stuff. But in the SARS-CoV virus space, if you're in a room and somebody coughs, you'll be infected with like 1 feet within 5 seconds, 10 feet within 8 seconds. That shows you the rapidity of the virus in the air, and the possibility of being infected. So you can imagine being in a restaurant, somebody's sick with SARS-CoV virus, they cough, everybody in that restaurant is going to be infected. So that is why it's so important that establishment have great air ventilation systems to scrub the air. You have situational awareness. Sometimes if you're in a restaurant with 1,000 people, it might be better for you to sit on outside where you do have some, dilution because of the air currents and stuff. So it is very important that people need to understand that situational awareness is always in play in this new pandemic.
So, Dr. Rollins, let's talk about sneezing. And this is what I read, and I want to make sure I'm correct. A sneeze can travel at 200 miles an hour and over 26 feet. Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely. It's astonishing the speed in the viral load when somebody sneezes and stuff. And the reality is that expulsion of viruses in the air is there's a purpose for that. The virus is making you sneeze. The virus is making you cough because it's trying to get out into the world to affect other people. That is the reality of where we're at. And so these viruses are very, very smart.
Wow. So, Dr. Lane, I want you to tell everybody how to be situationally aware and how they can protect themselves and the importance of masks as we wrap up this segment.
Well, the reality is that your primary thing is always keep a good mask on you, depending on the situation. Maybe you're in your car and you want to run into Walmart on Saturday to go to Money Market, MoneyGram or Western Union. There's 1,000 people there. You need to wear a mask. You need to make sure that you watch where your hands are at, i.e. having good antiseptic hand wash, antiseptic, cream, whatever the case is, or even wearing gloves in certain situations. Do not touch the gas pump handle. Make sure you understand that the virus is in droplets, i.e. it can be on the table. And viruses can live on a table in inanimate object from 20 days to 30 days. We find the monkeypox virus, for example, in bed sheets 20 days later. And you shake the bed sheet and that virus gets in the air and you breathe it in. These viruses are pretty smart. They're very, very hardy. And I tell people, when I think of viruses, it reminds me of zombies. They're just waiting around, sitting there, waiting for you to come and attach to you. And once it attaches to you, and this is a very important principle, is that once that virus gets inside of your body, this ball game over with. That virus is going to attach to your cell, go inside the cell, it's going to do what it's due. And that is why it's so important that people need to try to decrease their exposure as much as possible and make sure you have a healthy lifestyle and believe in your natural immunity, doing the proper things. You do that, you're going to have a great outcome.
Okay, so I got a question here, and it says, why do so many people, or the majority of people, decide not to wear a mask? Why are they doing that? Do you have any idea, or do you have an opinion on that?
I think the opinion is that it's just American people are very opinionated. And I think the reality, if the watermark was set in the beginning, i.e. Fauci got on television or Trump would have got on television, okay, folks, everybody, we have a serious situation. This is a pandemic. This is what's going to happen. You need to wear a mask. It'd have been a whole lot of better outcome versus coming out with telling people the ambiguity. Well, wear a mask, don't wear a mask. And that is why the confusion is. And that is why it's important that we have to reset the clock back and make sure people understand, man, the mask is very important. I promise you, I've seen people get on programs talking about they don't believe in the germ theory. And I tell them, go lick the elevator handle. Get on the elevator with 12 people with COVID, breathe in the air, you're going to see what happens.
Well, see, I've been saying this a while, but I'm not an expert. I'm not you. I'm not Dr. Lane Rowland, virologist, infectious disease expert, teaching microbiology, has six doctorates and an MD and a trauma surgeon. I'm just Michelle, the computer lady. I teach kids how to, about books, and I teach them about STEM and things of that nature. So people aren't listening to me. But that's why we have you here, because you are an expert. You are here to tell the truth, and masks are effective. Now, people, you heard it from an expert that's been around a while, U.S. Army surgeon. So the question is now, this isn't Republican. This isn't Democrat. We're telling you that masks save lives. We're telling you that cleaning your hands, not touching your face, not touching surfaces, cleaning your cell phone, All these things are going to help us. The other thing is, you talked about a healthy lifestyle. What kind of vitamins, what kind of things that we can do to boost our immunity? I take zinc and C and a couple of other things like a multivitamin every day. What do you recommend?
That's exactly what people should be taking as a multivitamin, and that's the reality. Most people are pretty healthy. In a Western society diet, we're pretty healthy. We might be missing some minerals, so I recommend everybody on the planet take a multivitamin because we're in a stressful time. We're burning up more energy because of the state that we're in. So multivitamin is great. You can take vitamin C, vitamin D. I highly recommend all that stuff, especially for minorities on vitamin D. It's very important for you to take that or get your levels measured in the wintertime because there's no sun. So we become vitamin D deficient, and that will play into your immune system. So a multivitamin is great. But if there's people out there that are talking about juju juice from Africa or hanging out with the shaman that's going to make this virus go away, that's not going to happen. That virus is pretty smart, and that virus understands the reality. And the reality is that you need to understand what you're dealing with.
Now, do you ever think we're going to get a booster or a vaccine that's going to be effective enough to help protect us more? Or are you working on something?
No, I don't see that right now. They're these new boosters they have, which is a combination of the Wuhan strain and the Omicron BA4, BA5, but they're going to be limited because the reality is that there are other variants out there, and if these vaccines do not have 100% vaccine effectiveness, you're going to leave a population of virus lives and it's going to mutate. And that is why you never do a vaccine program in the middle of a pandemic. Doesn't make any sense because you will create these mutations, and the vaccines has driven these mutations at a faster pace because the virus wants to live and it's going to do what it needs to do.
So I got to ask you the question that everybody asked you or that everybody is talking about. Do you think President Biden was being optimistic when he said the pandemic was over, or do you think it was a deliberate mistake?
I don't think he understands what the definition of what a pandemic is, endemic or epidemic. The pandemic means the disease is worldwide. Endemic means the disease is localized in a distinct geographic area. Epidemic means the virus is outside, the disease outside that distinct demographic area, outside the border. And pandemic means worldwide. So guess what, folks? The disease is worldwide. China's still having millions and millions of cases. Germany's having cases. The world's still having cases. There are new variants coming down. Like I said before, when the viruses are not found in the sewage, then guess what? The pandemic is over. But the reality, folks, we're going to be dealing with this for at least another 50 years. That's just the reality. And so I think the president was misinformed. And like I've always said, people have a habit of making ultra crepidarian statements in an area they're not trained to be in.
Well, everybody, we're going to go to a quick commercial break. We're going to come back and we're going to finalize this interview with Dr. Lane Rowland. Keep watching us on Hello America on the PIC TV network. We'll be back momentarily.
Wow, that is amazing. How old is he?
Say 10 months.
10 months, and he's got PIC TV at 10 months old. Look at that. That's our brand new member of the PIC TV network, folks. He is so happy.
He is a good happy baby.
Wow. Go PIC TV.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Said the Entertainer. I want y'all to check out Pick TV Network. That's right, Pick TV Network. They got 60 free channels on Roku. This is dope. They also started the brand new Coaching World channel at $9.89. So if you are a content provider, you are a young business with an opportunity to build a platform where you can have your own show, do some programming, check out Pick TV Network on Roku. They got over 60 free channels for you to check out and also grow a business. Go and see them now. See the content, see what they have to do, learn something, check them out, all right? Pick TV Network, that's what I'm talking about.
Hey, hello, and happy holidays to everyone. Hey, I want to encourage you to watch and support the new Pick TV Network. It's a military channel on Roku. All you have to do is click and play the Pick TV Network. And by the way, great job to David Evans, the president. Hey, man, I encourage you, go do it now. And with that, time's yours.
This is B-Mitch from the Washington football team. Congratulations to David Evans and the Pick TV Network for showing positive TV programs on Roku with 60 channels. Let's help my brother David Evans and the Pick TV Network continue to grow. Go to www.picktvnetwork.com. That's www.picnetwork.com.
Hi, how are you? This is Patty with the Pick TV Network. And I want to ask you a question. Do you believe in miracles? I do. And guess what? So does Project Smiles. We have created so many miracles last year and continue to create miracles as the season comes around with the holidays. We are asking you to please give a gift from the heart, only from the heart, and pay it forward with a miracle. I do want to share a testimony of my miracle. I received a car. It was a gift. It was a great gift. It was so well received. And my friend, it wasn't a family member, it was a friend who was so generous that gave it to me. She represents gratitude. She's a person of gratitude, and she reminds me to be grateful. She sees the good in paying it forward, and she also is always giving straight from her heart. So again, I just want to share that miracles happen every day. And you could be a part of that. You could not only be a receiver of a miracle like me, but also be a giver of a miracle as well as me. Here at the Pick TV Network, we're all about love and compassion and helping each other rise up. So again, Project Smiles for the Pick TV Network. Have an amazing day, everybody. God bless.
Everybody, we're right back here once again on the closing of another segment on Hello America. My name is David Evans. I'm so happy today. We have made history on the Pick TV Network, and I want to thank our special hosts. All those shows you did, Michelle, paid off today, and the doctor's coming back in a second, but I am so happy, to see our television network giving education, information, inspiration to people around the world. When most black television networks come on, you see these people laughing and joking and doing their thing, and that's good. But this is life-saving information today. So.
And that's one of the reasons that I want to have Dr. Rowland on, because a lot of time we hear opinion. Well, I believe in facts, which is one of the reasons why I write STEM books for children. I write nonfiction books because our kids need to be not only entertained, but educated in a way that they can digest it. And so having Dr. Rowland on, a virologist, infectious disease medicine, was out in the jungle of Africa, U.S. Army officer and trauma surgeon. He's telling us the truth. He's telling us where we dropped the ball, but he's also telling us how we can prevent and protect ourselves.
And
Because
this is why we need to support Pick TV Network.
oh, absolutely.
Everybody needs to get their phone out right now, scan that QR code, scan that QR code, and support the programs that we're doing. You know, this is so important. You know, you can get your Cash App, your PayPal, your Zelle, whatever you can do. You can support this network because we're going to have Dr. Golden. He's going to come on and talk about some more stuff: high blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol. He's going to come on and help build our television's educational programs when it comes to health. You know, so I want to bring Doc back up. Doc, you know, you just made history for our television network. We've been waiting for you for almost a year. You know, and I know you've been on a lot of other networks. Unmute your microphone. I know you've been on a lot of other networks, but today is history for Pick TV Network. You know, our network, again, we're growing, we're expanding, we're trying to do some big things. And I promised that I would bring to our audience the best when it comes to information, education, inspiration, entertainment. And it's so important for us to understand, Dr. Rowland, that we can change this world with good people like you giving the right information.
Well, I learned that a long time ago, and a lot of people don't understand what drives me is when I was a kid at 6 years old. I remember a white teacher told me I was retarded, and it's amazing when I look at my life, military officer, airborne, you name it, recon, surgery training in Honolulu, Hawaii, 6.5 degrees. I'm only one class from getting my math minor, etc. That how I have achieved in United States, America, a little black boy from Louisiana,
Wow.
And so to go. Live around the world and actually go into the jungles of the Amazon and help people operate on babies that are 3 days old and do clinics for 600 people in the middle of the jungles who have dengue and malaria and all types of diseases that are eating away your face. I call that push-ups of life. And the push-ups of life is not about the push-ups you're doing today. It's what's going to happen in the future. Are you prepared? And so God prepared me for this moment and this time to be ready. And the reality is that you're absolutely correct. You can have all the academic information in the world, but you got to be boots on the ground. You have to see the stuff up close and personal. You have to smell it. And I understand it very well. And I look forward to continue to provide great information to everybody in the world because this is my lane. I can dunk a virus. I can shoot viruses 3 points all day long, no problem. I can do a finger roll of a virus, and this is my space.
Well, Dr. Lane, we want to invite you to be our chief medical officer. We're going to invite you, and you're hearing it from me. Dr. Lane is invited to have his own channel on the Pick TV network. We're going to make sure that you have some type of show, whether it's monthly, weekly. We're going to work out the dynamics because our folks need to have the correct knowledge on how to make sure that they stay healthy. And this is Dr. Lane in the picture. And as you can see, this is the operation he's talking about. We have Black Excellence right here today with Dr. Lane on the Pick TV network. We told you, and I've been telling you all along, you didn't have to believe me. Now we have an expert. We've got Dr. Lane Rowland, MD, virologist, infectious disease, and he teaches. He's active. This is not somebody former or retired. This is what he does every day. And so, hello, America. This is our spotlight today with Dr. Lane Rowland. My heart is so glad, and I am proud and happy to meet you. And I don't drive anywhere. Everybody knows that I don't fly anywhere. I drive everywhere. I'm going to drive and meet you on the beach one day, and I'll have my mask and everything on, and we can hang out.
Well, I look forward to it, and I think for me, when I close my eyes on this planet for the last time, and I go to heaven, and God's going to say, man, we've been waiting for you for a long time, but we had to keep you down there for a while because you had to save a lot of people's lives. And I think one of the things for me, if we know American history, and Dr. Evans, you know, you're an officer, U.S. Army officer. I'm a U.S. Army officer. The things that we have to go through, and I'm a fifth generation family military. And the reality is that when I went to Peru the first time, almost 20 plus years ago, people thought the only thing that Black Americans did was play basketball and rap and sing. They were absolutely stunned when they met a Black surgeon, an infectious disease guy, and I ended up doing 6 surgeries at the hospital. It floored everybody. And I tell people that we are very creative people. We're great in athletes, but there are guys like us, and you're absolutely right, Dr. Evans and Michelle, that the problem that we've had a lot of these stations like BET, it doesn't represent us. They should be having programs, scientific programs with educational information about life and not about some 18-year-old kid with a bunch of gold in his mouth driving a Lamborghini. What world are you living in? You know, it's not the real world where the other 99.9% of the people on the planet live. And what are you doing to make society better? And my responsibility is to make students ambassadors to the world and not to themselves.
Dr. Lane Rowland, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining us here today on Hello America Spotlight. Dr. Evans, take us home. I'm looking to see you back. I'm going to interview you a few more times on some other things, and then we're going to roll and help you create your own show to make sure that we keep ourselves healthy. I'm Michelle, the computer lady. On behalf of the PIC TV network, this is Dr. David Evans, Dr. Lane Rowland, and you have learned it right here. The pandemic is worldwide, and it's not over.
Yeah, it's been great, folks. This is history for PIC TV Network. To have our show on national television around the world and to see a Black doctor, African American doctor on our network, where people can look at us in Brazil, France, Colombia, Mexico, Panama, Paris, Peru, Argentina, Egypt, Canada, Ireland, West Africa, United Kingdom, Australia, Germany, and United States, to interpret us from Roku, that we can have one of the best in the world to come on and showcase information to educate our people. You know, it's amazing. And I'm so happy, Dr. Rowland is going to come back on PIC TV Network and help us to build our educational program, our health programs, because I can't wait till he talked about diabetes, cholesterol, high blood pressure. I want him to definitely talk about some information about going into that surgery room and, why it's important to have a colonoscopy, why it's important to get your eyes checked, why it's important as we go older to drink more water, to get more rest. I'm going to talk to him about going in that surgery room, how it feels to go in there and being able to be in somebody's, to change somebody's life through operation, so we want to talk to him about these things. He's the man, y'all. This is the man in the plan. I think we got one more comment. Somebody says, it's my mic. I'm inspired by the show to know that I have accurate information to navigate this virus better. And she stated, should we get the latest new booster only to need another booster? Lady Evans, are we going to bring her on the show? We got to bring Coach Evans on the show because she's the number one comment person on this program today, folks. And she's falling in love. Dr. Rowland, my wife is falling in love with you. I want to tell America, my wife is falling in love with Dr. Rowland after 35 years being married to me. She's falling in love with you, man. With the information.
I look forward to a long-term relationship. And then when do I get to see the whole show? I want to see this myself too.
Oh man, you're gonna you'll see this on repeat on the PIC TV network. Hello America, we have a channel for that. We're gonna give you the link You can watch it on repeat. Anybody can watch it on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. And want everybody to support. If you get a minute, do what helps us to do what we need to do. Send your support. There's a QR code right above, right above this beautiful young lady right here, Michelle Cox, Atlanta, Georgia. And when you give your QR, when you support us, scan the QR code. You like this program, send a donation. Send a donation. Go to your phone, go to your QR code. Boom. All the information is right there where you can give a donation. Scan that QR. There you go. Scan that QR code. Boom. Your donation helps us to keep our programs, shows, everything alive, and to do more.
Folks, I have to go do another program, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rowland. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you. Well, I'm telling you, folks, this was amazing. Michelle, this was one of the biggest programs we ever had on PIC TV Network, and I want to thank you for allowing Dr. Rowland to come on. You were so excited to get him to get the green light. I know we had the president of Safe Light to come on. I know you brought on Dr. Delano to come on. I know you brought on some other folk to come on, but this was Isaac Hayes, the third, second. This was a big interview today. This was big.
Well, the thing about it is we need to make sure that we have accurate information in order to protect ourselves. And I'm really, really big on making sure that we as people, not just Black people, but people all around the world, have the proper information. And to have an expert on, it was something I had to do. It's not something I wanted. I had to do it. And so thank you. And I'm proud to be a part of this network. I'm proud I donate. Just so everybody knows, I donate myself because I believe in what we're doing. We're bringing positive, inspirational, educational, as well as entertainment to the masses on our own network, and we will not be silenced. Dr. Evans?
Yeah, I want you to talk about, before we close this segment, we're ready to go, how big this was. And, a lot of people don't know Dr. Rowland, but talk about his educational background.
This is huge. This is huge. This guy has, as he so pointedly said, he has 6.5 degrees. He is a virologist. That means he studied viruses. He has studied infectious diseases. He's worked in the Amazon. He's worked in Peru. He's worked in the jungle. He's a U.S. Army officer, a trauma surgeon. So we're talking about somebody that is an expert in the field. He's been on the Congressional Black Caucus Health Advisory Board. That's major. So this isn't somebody that's giving you an opinion. These are facts. This is
and Michelle, talk about Michelle, talk about the infectious. I'm going to put it up there again. When you say he is an expert in the infectious disease, you got to have your degree to get that. You just can't say, God bless me with the education.
He has 6 degrees. He teaches microbiology. He's teaching the next level of virology, and he's teaching doctors right now. So he's current. He's staying on top of this. And as we discussed in the segment, he talked about the failing of the Trump administration. It's something that I talked to you about. I told you the World Health Organization had told the United States when Trump was in office that this was going on. He poo-pooed it. And this is one of the reasons when they saw the virus in Washington State, they had a chance right at the beginning to knock this down and mitigate it. Obama left a pandemic playbook. We did not enact it. Yeah. So China's at fault, but we're at fault for 2 million deaths in the United States. People want to politicize this. You can't. This is a health issue. This is not a political issue.
Michelle, when Dr. Rowland came on, he said, it's not over. We're going to be here for the next 1,000 years. Did you hear him say that?
He said 50 years. He said 50. He said 50.
Okay, let me get that straight.
He
Because
said
I
50.
don't want to say
He said
1,000.
50.
I don't know if I'm going to be here that long. So let's say.
Well, the thing about it is the SARS-CoV virus originated in mammal animals, and it can travel. Now it's crossed over from animals to humans. But everyone has to do their part. Washing your hands, stop touching your face, stop spreading. Anytime you have any type of magazine or any of that stuff, you're helping to spread things around. Like I tell everybody, people think I'm paranoid. I'm carrying these. I'm always wiping my hands. I'm spraying gas pumps with Lysol. I'm spraying my classrooms when people come in. I spray Lysol into the HVAC system. I spray and spray and spray. And people are like, well, that's a little extreme. It's not, because this virus isn't going anywhere. And it's smart. It's mutating. That's why we have to stay on top. And that's why the importance of having an infectious disease and virologist with the experience that he has, over 20 years of experience on the PIC TV network, giving out accurate information today.
I knew this was going to be a big TV interview today for PIC TV network, and it's going to get bigger because people are going to watch this show. It's just fresh, it's news coming out. They're going to see it on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. It's going to continue to blow up, maybe go viral. To have him on today, and I want to salute you for just bringing him on. We got a great job, Michelle. Lady Evans, Coach Evans, popping. Happy birthday to Coach Evans. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Coach Evans.
Happy birthday to the world. It's my wife's birthday. So when you had him to come on, I had to do a little research. And then when I seen him in the surgery room, I mean, Michelle, he's saving somebody's life.
That's correct.
He's in the trauma place. He's in there operating, cutting inside somebody's body. This is cool. This is big.
So, and Dr. Evans, remember I told you, I'm really about making sure that we have the facts, and having the facts is important, because the only way for us to grow as a network is to make sure that we're giving accurate information.
Correct.
Now, we do entertainment as well. You know, we have our fun, this, that, and the other, but I am really, really, really committed to making sure that our people keep themselves safe. And I say our people, I mean our people all over the world. And it doesn't matter whether you're French, British, English, you're from Africa, you're from the United States, Canada, whatever country you're in, you're our people. Because this virus it's pandemic. It's worldwide. It's not endemic. It's not just in the United States. It's everywhere. So this information is for all of us, because we're in this together. This is not a Democratic Party, not an independent party, not a Republican Party issue. This is a pandemic international health issue. And we have to make sure, all of us together, that we work together to solve the COVID crisis. Dr. Evans, back to you.
Amazing. You know, this was one, again, amazing show. Folks, you're going to watch the repeat of PIC TV Network. You want to support the network by giving a donation. All you have to do is go to the QR code right above your head. Make your donation right now. Go above. That's right. Scan the QR code. Make a donation. Help us. We want to do some big things. We want the doctor to come back. Can you imagine him coming back with some other doctors coming on here? Some other doctors coming on PIC TV Network, the Health Channel. This is life-saving information, folks.
Absolutely. And the thing about it, he's already agreed to, we all have a show with him explaining how we can make sure that we stay healthy. Virus or not, because we haven't even begun to scratch the surface. Let's think about, there's monkeypox. Polio is making a resurgence. So there's lots of information, but you're going to get it here, and you're going to get the facts. And he wants to come on. You know, the beautiful thing, when he first, I'm going to be very busy helping him with his show. I know I am. He wants to come on. He said, I want to help this network. This is big, folks.
I think Lady Evans Coach Evans is blowing up. No nations will help. Yeah. So this is a major. When he said he wanted to come on and help our network, when we were behind the scenes, Michelle, before we even started the show, he said he's been on ESPN.
He's been on MSNBC. He's been on Roland Martin Live. He's been on countless other news shows. Like I said, I heard him in Clubhouse in the House of Creativity with Delano Johnson yesterday, and I'm like, he's got to be here. We need to get this broadcasted internationally so everybody knows, because when we talk about pandemic, we're talking about international. We're not just talking about the United States. We're not here in it by ourselves. That's why it's so important.
Yeah. And I want to thank Delano and also his wonderful wife, Monique. Yeah, that's my girl, Monique. Monique, when we watching this, Delano, I just love the house, and I'm in there much as I can. These are that's family. They're gonna be coming on Pick TV Network too to do a show. But this was big. Michelle, I can't thank you enough. For bringing one of the great. This is going to be down for our Pick TV Network special programs on our anniversaries of the year. This has got to be one of the top 10 programs of 2022. It has to be.
I know it is. I know it is. And Dr. Roland, thank you. Thank you for all the accurate information.
Yeah.
Everybody, wear your mask, wash your hands, don't touch your face. All right.
We'll see you
Dr.
soon
Evans,
again.
let's get out of here. I gotta go eat lunch.
We'll see you guys on Hello America again. Thank you for everybody for watching our television shows on Pick TV Network. My name is David Evans, your president. This is what we try to do. We try to bring you the best on Pick TV Network. The best when it comes to inspiration. That's why we have inspirational speakers on. When it comes to education, we have to learn about the Pfizer, the Moderna, the Johnson & Johnson. We have to have people like Michelle Cox from Atlanta, Georgia, bringing other doctors on. This is why I created Pick TV Network, to bring about health and awareness. But we have doctors. He has 6 degrees on our television network. And we're going to talk about diabetes, cholesterol, high blood pressure. We're going to talk about these things, folks. You have to get a mammogram. You have to get tested. We're going to talk about how you can live a full life by eating right, drinking your water. We're going to talk about these things. This is a health segment on Hello America, and it's also going to be on our health channel. As Michelle says, we have entertainment shows. You want to see your music. You want to do your dancing. We have all that good stuff, comedy. But when it comes down to taking care of business, when we're talking about health, especially from African Americans and people from all over the world, we have to talk about this. And this is a big, big, big day of history for the Pick TV Network. And I want to thank everybody for watching our shows and programs. Scan that QR code. Let's take it to the next level, folks. We'll see you next time on Pick TV. Bye-bye.
They say your eyes are the windows to the soul. They're also the windows to your health, because they let eye doctors see what's going on inside. Think about this. A comprehensive eye exam can be an early detector of serious health problems, like high blood pressure, heart disease, stroke, and diabetes. Shouldn't you see your eye doctor yearly? Go to thinkaboutyoureyes.com to learn more and for a list of local eye doctors. It could help save more than your vision.
A lot of people ask me all the time, how did Pick TV Network get started? Well, I want to tell you, it was because of Brenda Ann Evans, my sister. She left this world and went to heaven. We had her service on September the 12th, 2020. But another blessing was born through Pick TV Network. And we're so happy again for her story that will always be told. We remember the wonderful smiles, her laughter, her kind heart. The PIC TV network is dedicated to Brenda. It was birthed because of Brenda. The fire and zeal is Brenda. The light will shine because of my sister Brenda. So when you see the channels and programs on PIC TV network, always remember how it got started. It started because of Brenda, my sister that I love forever. Gone but